Welcome to In Real Time, where we as Heights Church are inviting you in for real conversations about leading people, organizations, and change in the new normal. We're hoping that our real discussions about our church's journey will help you as you reimagine and rebuild yours. Hello, Craig here, and welcome to In Real Time, where we're having real conversations about leading people, organization, and change. And today's topic, well, we're calling this one 2024 Planning with a Purpose. So we'll unpack that in just a moment. I've got two co-hosts, so I'm going to have them introduce themselves right here. But before I do, please hit like, subscribe, and the bell notification, because I know you are not going to want to miss one episode, and you're going to want to share this with at least 49 of your closest friends, because, hey, after all, these are conversations we all need to be having. All right, so why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Yeah, my name is Tim. I am one of the associate pastors here. I oversee our online church.
Yeah.
I'm a teaching pastor and also hands-on with our men's ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
yeah. And I will say you look better than I would have expected, just because I know Alabama is not doing well.
Like, wow,
and
you look better.
You look better than I would have expected. So
yeah.
Good job on you.
I appreciate that. I've
staying close to Jesus.
I've been able to watch you navigate the last few years in the Cowboys.
That did not go like I wanted it to.
So thank you for leading by example.
Falling apart. Okay, yeah.
Who are you, Justin?
You're welcome.
My name is Justin, and I'm our life groups pastor.
It's good.
And I also oversee young adults and hospitality around here.
And when we say football, he thinks more of soccer.
What's your favorite team?
Of what?
Okay.
There it is.
There it is.
It would be the Food Network.
That's awesome.
It would be Food Network battles, right?
No, I actually watch collegiate wrestling is what I watch.
Oh, do you?
I do.
Okay.
Well,
I know your son was a big wrestler.
Like, Zahid Valencia out of Benicia just won bronze. So I follow that stuff.
Okay. That's good, man.
Yeah, but
Ziggy's
I know. You're like, who? What? Huh? I know. But
that's good.
That's awesome. And it's not like WWE wrestling. Like, it's full on freestyle, collegiate style wrestling.
So you're telling me this is real?
Oh, yeah. It's
not real stuff.
It is.
It's not choreographed.
WWE
no, it's not choreographed.
I mean,
it's not like Lucha Libre
WWE
or anything cool like that.
Right.
No, these are like college wrestlers.
Right. Exactly. Okay, that's good. So let's come back to our topic for today. Eventually, 2024, planning with a purpose. Here was the problem. We're kind of feeling like our schedule, there's something a little off.
It's wonky.
And we really have just come into this in the last couple of weeks, really. I mean, I've been feeling it as we ramped up into September. But as we're now living September, I think we're realizing this has just been off.
It has revealed
It has revealed, yeah. And we have a deadline coming up in the next week where we have to turn in all of our scheduled events for 2024 of all the ministries. And because of that, we're saying, wait a minute, before we do, we need to have a conversation about what that schedule is going to look like in the new year.
That's right.
And so what we realize is that there are some issues here, tensions that we're dealing with, and we're not sure we're going to actually manage those well unless we ask ourselves some very strategic questions, which we're going to dig into in a moment. But we got here honestly.
Right.
So talk to me about how we got to this place where literally tomorrow we're going to meet as a staff and we're going to hash this out. We have not solved this problem yet, but we know we've got the right questions and the right tensions that we're managing. So we're going to do it tomorrow. But leading up to that, we thought in real time, we're going to let people in on this process. So how did we get to this place right now?
Well, COVID is this huge marker for everybody, and everybody experienced it different. And we knew when we were coming out of COVID, we started, years ago when we were doing that meeting on campus for the first time in a long time, we wanted to create community. We wanted to get people together. People wanted to be together. And so we decided that we would do events, right, to kind of help people get back together because they had been isolated for so long. And so we went from a church of life groups, which sustained us through the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
It was the backbone, right?
Yeah,
Your ministry kept us.
Yeah, we had like, 66 groups going
during
at any given time during
Right.
COVID.
Yeah. And they were functioning
And we had
amazing.
over 100 before COVID started. So,
Right.
I mean, it's our lifeblood.
Yeah. But people wanted to be together. And so we strategically said, let's do events, when in the past before that, we would say we were not an events-driven church. And we weren't.
We were not.
But we were going to do events. Well, we did them.
Because that's what was needed at the time.
That was what was needed. We did those things. People were coming together. They were really well attended.
Yes.
So we did them again, right? And this year, we go, all right, let's do them some more. And then all of a sudden we're realizing that it might not be the best way forward in 2024, because there are some tensions. There are some questions we need to ask. And it's just good to say, let's just not do them because we've always done them.
Right.
We don't want sacred cows around here.
Right.
We want to be effective in ministry. So
Yeah.
That's how we got here.
Yeah.
And it's worth the conversation.
Yeah. And we were actually slipping into, I would say, 2024 looking a lot like 2023, because we did it in 2023. We have to do it again in 24. And that's the wrong reason to do events.
That's right. Yep.
We need to do them, as you said, because they're effective.
Right.
And so we can check ourselves if we do it now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're about to make a year-long mistake.
Yeah.
So it may look similar to what we would have brought, but here's what I'm excited about, is that whatever we wind up with now, I'm confident that those are going to be events that are going to serve our purpose. So there's some great questions, but maybe the tensions that we're managing, the things that we want and don't want, those are needing to be stated and made clear up front.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be different for every organization. But for us, as we're asking strategic questions, there are tensions that we're managing. So let me throw a couple of these out. Number one, we do not want to be distracted from our life groups, because they are literally the blood of our church.
That's right.
So if we create a bunch of events, we know that people will feel distracted because they're not probably going to go to life groups and a bunch of events. They're going to pick and choose. And if people are going to go to something, we want them to commit to the weekends and to their life group, because we know that's how we grow best.
Yeah. Right. It's true.
And then we'll add some events to it. And so, but how many? What kind of events will those be? Those are very important. So distraction from life groups is a part of the tension. That's part of the tension. Then we also have our Unite events. That's something we have to add on to. We'll explain that in a minute. We want our staff to remain healthy and strong, so they have to be able to keep up with this schedule. Our people's felt needs. What are they really going through? What are they feeling? We want to manage that. That's a tension. We don't want to ignore that. We want to know that and speak to it. And then we want to accomplish our vision and mission. Now, all of those are important. So let's unpack them a little bit. Distracting from life groups. Why is that something we have to concern ourselves with?
Well, I mean, we by design, years ago, going on almost 8 years, 8 or 9 years at this point, we decided we wanted to make our church a church of life groups, not just a church with groups, because that's what we were at the time.
Yeah.
We had a smattering of life groups here and there that started and stopped at different times. They were doing different studies, and it was just really hard to get people onboarded, get them connected in any way, shape, or form. And so we were running events, men's, women's, married life,
singles.
You name it. I mean, we just had a whole bunch of different things, and a lot of them. So you had some groups doing them every single month.
Yes.
Some groups doing them every other week. I mean, I think there was a season when Coffee Top was going on every 4 weeks. It was just bang, 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 bang. They had something going on. And so it just, but it pulls away from what we decided we wanted our mission to be, which was the community of life groups. Because as we grow, we believe one of the ways that you keep your church small is by getting people connected in a small group.
That's right.
And they're going to find the care that they need from people, They're going to find growth. They're going to find discipleship. They're going to find love and community. I mean, we've got life groups doing Alaskan cruises together. I know, seriously, like we have life groups that have been together going on as long as I've been here. So going on like 10 to 12 years at this point.
Yeah.
That they are and they've walked through death, friendships, hurts, wounds, health issues, pandemic together.
Yeah.
I mean, like, seriously, they have gone through life. We've had folks who have moved away that are still connected to their life groups via Zoom.
Oh, it's great.
I mean, and so they are a beautiful way that the church is the church.
Yes.
And so we find that there's just a lot of value for us in that. And so that's really tension number one.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that's still our focus.
Yeah.
And then you put in these other events. And like you said, people's schedules are so busy these days.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, if you've got a kid in school or sports, forget about it. Like, let's just add that into the mix. Now you've got 2 nights a week you're doing something, and then you've got an ask for life group, so that's 1 night a week, and then you've got Sunday services. Now there's 4 or 5 nights every week you're doing something.
Yeah.
No wonder people are burned out, exhausted, and drained.
And that's not setting the family up for success.
It's not,
No,
but
it's
it's a
not.
reality that's out there.
Yeah,
100%.
I just went through it. Now, I mean, you're describing my life when my kids were in high school.
Right?
Yep.
Baseball, then softball, and
Yep.
it was every week. And I
yeah.
loved it, but it didn't leave much time for anything else.
No.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So those are tensions when we ask our people to join us. We have to go, okay, what's the big ask that we want? What's the real goal at the end? Well, life groups and weekend services.
Yes.
So
Because we know that's what's going to help people grow and stay healthy in
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And so we've got to be about that.
Right.
yeah.
So that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. So we don't want to distract from that. What about our Unite events? Tell me why is that important?
Well, Unite event is important because for us, we have a campaign, the Unite Capital campaign, and helps us raise funds and for ministry and for our budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
absolutely.
we have these events that gather up stakeholders and owners in that campaign and keep them abreast of what's happening and what's, where their giving is going. And so these are extremely important. So we don't want, that's just yet another thing that we will do after church on Sundays, once a quarter, I think we're doing them?
Yeah.
Or?
It's about
It's about once a quarter, maybe 3 times a year. It just kind of depends.
So there's another thing,
Yeah.
and we don't want to then, coupled with life groups, and now you have Unite events where we're gathering people up. Again, there's a tension there.
There is.
Because we want people, because that's really what's happening in our church. It's us being accountable to these people who are giving, and
it's how we build trust.
That's how we build trust. Yep, and
That's
so
right.
it's
Answering every
necessary, and that's also where, as pastors, hey, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. Here's what's happening in our areas of ministry. So it's a beautiful event.
Yeah,
brings people together. So we want to protect that, just as like we want to protect the life groups.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want to protect that and make sure we're not scheduling events that hinder that or prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
So that was not anything we did do it some every once in a while, like once a year maybe, for campaigns prior to the pandemic. But now that is an added piece that is just a part of our schedule now. And it's necessary. At least it is still today.
Yeah.
And our people really love it. They're great events, but we have to put those on the calendar as part of what we do in our normal rhythms. I think the other tension we're dealing with is the felt needs of the people. Absolutely. Obviously, hey, we want to answer people to the questions that they're asking.
Yeah.
And so not just tell them, here's what you need to know. It also is about, well, where are you at?
Yeah,
what's going on in your life? What do you need from us?
Right.
How can we meet your need and help you?
Right.
So we've got to help. We got to keep that up and manage that. And if you're doing a bunch of events that don't answer those questions necessarily, well, that's a distraction as well.
Yeah.
It can be.
It can be. Then there's the rhythms of our staff, because we can only do so much.
Yeah.
And all these events mean we're at a lot of these events. Plus, we're doing our life groups. There's a lot going on.
Right.
If we want to create a healthy pace that we can sustain over a long period of time and remain healthy, then we have to pay attention. So it's a tension in this conversation that we have.
And I like the felt needs one because we have to recognize that needs change.
They do.
Coming out of the pandemic, we knew the needs of our people we needed to gather them for community.
Yeah.
That we're not isolated, even though we're on Zoom meetings or those things. But that only does so much.
Yeah.
So those were the needs.
Yeah.
And now we're recognizing like those needs have shifted.
Good point.
And now we've got to reevaluate and ask the good questions and with the right people in the room to figure out how to address these tensions of our shifting needs and all the things that you talk about, life groups and these things, because those needs change. And I would say we're at that moment where we're all, even today, like I said, in real time today, we decided, hey, wait, next year's planning probably should look different for all of those reasons.
All these reasons. Yeah. And I'm going to add another one on top of it, which is the most important thing, which is we want to accomplish our vision and mission.
Yeah. Right.
That's the most important thing. But all these are important, but we're managing. So let me just read those. Distraction from life group, that's attention.
Yep.
Unite events that we're adding on top so that we can continue to be strong financially. That's important. Our staff remaining healthy with its rhythms, people's felt needs, and accomplishing our vision and mission. All those are important. You can't really take any of those out for us.
No.
Now, every other organization, they're going to have their own tensions. I don't know what those are, but these are ours. So I would recommend, if you're thinking about your planning for the next year, figure out what your tensions are. What is it that you definitely need to have and what you definitely don't want?
Yeah.
And so those are your tensions. Right. Now, as we're thinking about that, we're asking then questions of next year.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to do it just to do it.
Right.
We did an event last year. Great. It was fun. Great. That doesn't mean that we need to do it again. But what if we just said, what does the next year need on top of what we just talked about?
Right.
And how can we manage these things, these tensions, by answering these questions and scheduling some events that would help us? So here's some right questions to ask. I'm going to go through them real quick and then we'll come back to them. Who should be involved in the answering of these questions in the conversation? That's important because that's not one person.
No.
That's a team of people. What's the most important thing for us as we're putting the schedule together? And really, that's going to be kind of a number of most important things. It's going to be dealing with the issues of tension. What's needed now? Because what's needed in 24 is not what was needed in 2023 or 22. It's been different every year that we've come out of the pandemic. And we were doing this really before the pandemic, but we've been radically doing it since the pandemic.
Yeah, we ramped it up.
So for 2024, we're asking the question, what do we do now? So that's really kind of getting to that place of no sacred cows. There's a lot of people that wants to do a lot of things, but what's actually needed for our church? And then who has to be there? That's important. Who has to be there?
You mean like who has to be at the event? That's
exactly. Who has to be at the event? Also,
as far as staff.
It's staff. It's anybody. Lay leaders. How many events can you call a lay leader out for?
Right.
I mean, people expect more of staff. I get that, but what about our lay leaders? And most churches are operating with lay leaders as heads of their departments.
Right.
So how many of those can you call them out for? I was used to serve at churches where, honestly, Sunday night, Wednesday night, and then probably Tuesday night were always a given. You were going to be gone every one of those nights every week. That was just how it is. And you're calling your lay leaders out for those 3 nights as well. And then you're going to add a men's event to that. You're going to add whatever events you at. You're calling people out literally 3 to 5 nights a week. And it drove us crazy.
Yeah.
And people had that expectation. Well, your staff, you're paid to do it. Yeah, well, what about lay leaders?
What about our family?
They don't have that kind of time.
Yeah.
And so if they do, it's rare. But it's not even healthy for staff to be doing that. Because I have 2 kids. I've got a wife. And it turns out they like me.
They want
to see me.
I know. It's crazy.
Yeah. So isn't that great? So, and then another 2 questions. What are we trying to accomplish with the event? Vision, mission. How can we accomplish them? So let's come back to this. Who should be involved? when we're talking about the tensions, managing events for the coming year, who should be involved, what we're really talking about here is we definitely want ministry leads.
Right. Yep.
Any people in the ministries that would have a say.
Yeah, like for us,
team.
Like for us, your wife Stacy is our women's events coordinator.
Yep.
And so she doesn't work here.
No.
But we do, so we need to make sure she is included in these conversations because it impacts her ministry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you can't make those decisions and then just dictate to them, hey, here's what you're going to do.
Hey, sorry, we cut every event. You get
Here's
one
what you're
event
gonna
next
do.
year. Good luck.
Yeah.
And then here's
Hope
why.
it's great.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's what it's going to be
Because she needs an explanation as to why are we doing this again?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she
And when you're
leads
part
that.
of the process, you get it.
And she leads it, so we want her input.
Yeah.
Because she understands those needs of those women that she ministers to.
Yeah.
And let's say, for instance, just an example, because I lead the men's ministry, but I'm on staff. So we're making all those decisions, but really only one of those ministries is represented if I'm the only one in the room, even though we're all in the room.
Right.
Stacy is not.
Right.
Yes.
And
even though I'm married to her, I still don't. I don't talk for her.
Then we set you up for an issue.
Right. I'm like, oh, there it is. There's conflict at home. Thanks, guys.
And my wife works with your wife in that ministry.
She's
so
they're
we're
volunteer together. And
You're
so,
if we don't keep them involved, but just especially as health. Here's an example. Just recently, there were some discussions about some ideas for maybe an event next year. I don't want to give too many details because we're not sure we're going to do it or not.
Right,
But I
exactly.
was feeling something and thinking, I'm giving it some thought. And then my wife came out of a planning meeting.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, hey, Stacey,
we're thinking the same
Stacey
thing.
and I, and we were thinking this thing. And it was exactly what I was thinking. Well, that's why you have conversations.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reality is, as we've kind of worked through that, and that meets the need and create and it releases some of the tension as we're feeling by all these different events, and we can do something that even better.
Yeah.
I think is possibly even better, moving into next year, maybe even this year. We don't know, but But you have to have those conversations, or we would never know.
You do, and I can't emphasize this enough because I know that because I've been a part of other staffs. I know how this happens. We make these decisions in the office during the week, and we tell people what's going on. Huge mistake. You grow no leaders by doing that.
Right.
In fact, what you do is you frustrate the leaders in your church.
right.
That's the wrong thing to do. Hello?
Yeah.
Stop making decisions without their input. They need to know why. And we all have questions coming to those discussions. And how we get to the right place and we feel good about it when we leave is because we were a part of discovering the why these sacrifices have to be made. Then we become willing because I guarantee you when it comes to events, every year, we don't ask people to add more. We ask people to cut back, right? That's what so there's sacrifice involved.
Yes.
Everybody comes with more than they than what they wind up with.
Right.
So,
So even
the
heads
why
of
is
ministry,
important.
and the
Gotta
heads of
have them in the
ministry,
room.
but also your volunteer. Like for us, we have leadership teams of volunteers. So we have a men's leadership team and we have a women's leadership team. Just again, use this as an example.
Yeah.
And these are conversations that Stacy's having with her team, and I'll be needing to have with my team before we even come up with a decision.
Right.
These are the people you want involved in those decision makings and conversations, and then you can bring it to staff and say, "Here's what we're thinking," and then you're getting everybody on the same boat, rowing in the same direction.
Yeah.
Because there could be something you're not seeing, even though Stacy and I may come up with we got this idea.
Yeah.
Well, then take it to the staff. Because it may be a rub somewhere else that we're tunnel vision to.
Right.
So the more conversations, obviously you don't want to just have conversations for the sake of having conversations.
No.
Well, and the
You want
other
it to be
thing is
effective.
there are folks that don't need to be a part of the conversation.
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
That's right.
I mean, like just because it's a women's event, yes, they need to be they need to be a part of this conversation, but I don't need to then have a conversation or even a stake in the event itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there comes a point when that piece doesn't have to be everybody involved.
Yeah.
Right.
Like let's say we do make a decision. Yeah, we want to go forward on this one. Then people don't necessarily have to be involved except for the key players of that event.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's that tension there as well. At what point do I need to bow out? What point do I need to be a part of?
Yes.
You know, and so it seems to, it's funny, this line that we walk really just one, our own health. Because here's the honest truth, and we need to say it out loud. We have a big church and a small staff.
Yeah.
So all of us wear multiple hats and run multiple ministries.
Yes.
With lots of lay leaders underneath us.
Yes.
And so we're just doing our best to navigate them, love them, encourage them, keep them leading, pour into them, help them be a part of this. And so it naturally, unfortunately, still we break down somewhere in the midst of this because we are here on Sunday mornings. This is always my wife's biggest complaint to me. Well, you're there on during the week and you know what's going on in the building, and I have no clue. And I went, you're right. How can I help you know what's going on in these conversations? Like, I need to bring her into the loop in the mix of that.
Right.
So,
that's true. I definitely recommend you do that, Justin.
Oh, it's a big deal.
You mentioned one of those tensions is the health of the staff. That's a tension.
That's a tension.
That's also not just our obviously full-time pastors, but we have part-time employees and our volunteer we consider to be part of our staff.
That's right.
And I think it's our job because I in my experience watching the church, sometimes churches, and they don't usually do this on purpose, but
I don't think so.
They'll run somebody right into the ground and they go, "Oh, why did they walk away?
How come they didn't say something?
Yeah, why did they have this big stumble in their walk with Jesus, right? Or whatever that may be." And I've just always have adopted this idea is that I care about your happiness, health, and spiritual growth.
Amen.
And that means when I schedule events, I have to be aware and put major consideration into what does that mean for those volunteering to make that event happen.
Yeah.
And are they involved in other ministries?
Yeah.
So
which many of them are.
So and then that comes down to
many of them.
If I'm doing a men's event, say our youth pastor, Bronson. Well, in our meetings together when we meet weekly, I let him know. Like I know your schedule is wacky. I did youth for a long time. I understand it. I'm not gonna. We don't require or make it mandatory because he's already going to football games and volleyball games, and he's doing his own events. And he
needs to miss something.
He needs to miss something. He needs time with his wife.
Right.
And cultivating his marriage. So that tension also is don't do events just to do events so you look busy, but make sure they have purpose. They're hitting your vision and your mission, and you're looking out for your staff, paid staff,
absolutely,
and your volunteer staff. Yeah, so important.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really is.
And sometimes those aren't worth it to do.
People only have so many commitments that they're going to be able to give because they only have so many. We're in the same boat as people. There's only 24 hours in every day. Nobody gets more.
It ultimately always comes down to a math problem. Right? Like if you run 24 weeks.
It sounded like you said a bath problem, but you said math problem.
Math.
I know.
Yeah, I'm like,
I showered.
But no, seriously, think about it for a second. Like if you run, so you've got 52 weeks a year. We have 52 church services.
Yeah.
At minimum.
Yeah. Right.
52 Sundays out of the year.
Right.
Then you run another 24 on top of that. That's our life group quarters, all of them. And then you add, now we've got between men's, women's, married life, Unite, and the other ones that we do, another 25.
Because everybody's doing about 4.
Right. Yeah. You're now rocking 44 to 45 weeks a year that you have something going on outside of just Sundays.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy when you think about it.
It is.
And we're not an events church.
No.
I mean, we're really not.
Yeah, we're not an events church.
We're like, wait a minute, it's starting to feel like
we're
that.
a large church, and that's one of that's the pull of it.
That's
the tension.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's a lot of felt needs, and we want to try to help as many people as we can. So that's important. Yeah. No, I love that. It's really good. So who should be involved? Very important.
Yep.
And people would say, man, do I have to go through the process of meeting with those people?
Yes.
And the answer is yes.
Absolutely.
That's why we're talking about this in September for 2024, because we want to get those conversations in so that when 24 comes, we're all going to say, wow, that schedule looks doable. It's going to be effective. It's going to be so solid. Wow. And it doesn't distract us from the main thing.
Our mission and our vision.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. All right. So a couple of other thoughts here. Again, we've talked about some of these already, but what's the most important thing for us? For us, it's life groups. It's community.
Right.
Okay. Somebody else has another one. But whatever is most important to you, then you're going to have to protect it.
Right.
You're going to have to say no to certain things so you could say yes to that.
Right.
And so that's why we're saying yes to groups and no to other things. What's needed now? We know that answer because we do a game plan, which I'm not going to dive into here because we do it often, but it is that card that helps us understand mission, vision, core values. But most importantly for this, how will we be successful? How will we be successful in the next 3 to 4 months?
Yep.
And we choose those 3 to 4 things that we know if we really drill down on those, we're going to be moving the ball forward for the kingdom and our mission and vision. And so we take those, and that helps us to answer what is most needed now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so we're able to put together the events for 24 based on some of that.
Yep.
Right.
So that's that. Who has to be there? That is about staff. We do not say, because when I was at other churches, every event, every staff person had to be there. And we don't do that here because I know I will run every one of you into ground, and I can't be at everything. You guys can't be at everything. We just need to say you have permission not to. We do have events that everybody needs to be at.
Yep.
And those have changed over the years, and COVID also changed them. Everything was an A event, 2022.
Yeah.
Most of 2023, but as we're moving into 24, we're going to change some of that.
Yep.
Give some permission to not maybe go to everything. And then what are you trying to accomplish with that event? Why are you meeting?
Right.
What are you going to do with it?
Yeah. Don't have an event just to have an event. Don't have an event just because it felt good the year before. You had a good attendance.
Right.
It's like, why are you having, what is the purpose?
Yeah. What's your purpose?
You know, don't meet just to meet. Have a purpose. Like, even if, kind of like for us, we're going to create an event, or we're going to create a place where we're going to have men experience God, like we just had on Friday night. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But there was a purpose. Yeah. We didn't come just to hang out. We met and we fellowshipped and we were inspired by the Word of God, and we encouraged one another. They have a plan. Yeah. And if you're doing it just to do it, you might want to reevaluate. Yeah. And start asking other questions.
Right. We felt like that was unique, and it was able to accomplish something that just your regular weekend gatherings don't.
Correct.
Because you're gathering all these men together.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, we talked about a lot of things here, the tensions that we deal with, the right questions to ask, and all of that, trying to solve the problem that we had, which was that yearly schedule just started feeling off. It's
what not a had, it's a have. We have not solved
That's
the
true.
problem
We
yet.
haven't solved it yet.
Like, we decided to do this podcast.
Yeah,
we did the podcast
today.
before
Here's what you guys don't know. I've already solved it in my mind. We're not going to have the meeting tomorrow because I don't need to talk to anybody.
I don't need to talk about it. I'm just going to do it.
So many other leaders do. I'm just going to solve it and tell you what to do. Right?
Man.
Wouldn't that be terrible?
That'd be bad.
No, we're going to have
canceling all our events for 2024.
So we'll let y'all know how it works out.
That's exactly right.
But we're going to work the problem. That's the thing. We're not turning a blind eye to it.
No, we're going to address it.
If you're feeling something, then just expose it.
Expose it.
Have those right questions.
Well, and this always is one of those same things that we always do. Is we're just always reevaluating. Is it effective? Is it worth our time? Does it meet our mission and vision?
Right.
I mean, these are always questions we're doing. Yeah. Always. This is just who and what we do.
There's just culture of being flexible.
Right.
Yeah.
And then can I let go of the things that I've always done?
Right. Yeah. And we can.
Yeah.
Yep. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for having a real conversation with me today about leading people, organization, and this one, change.
Yes.
Absolutely. Hit like and subscribe, the bell notification, because I know you loved this one. All right. Invite 49 of your friends to listen in as well, because I know they would love this, because this is helpful stuff. All right, you guys. We can't wait to see you next time in real time.